If your big life goal is to make $1 million, I get it because I've made over 7 figures online in my business with just one digital product doing a little over 900K. And it felt good, but that goal is keeping you broke because the truth is, $1 million isn't life changing anymore. It's just level one. So in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how to rewire your mindset, your business, and your strategy so $1 million just becomes small talk, not a mountaintop. This ain't motivational fluff, this is mathematical clarity. Let's stretch your vision if it's the reason why you've been stuck thinking too small. You've been taught to put 7 figures on a pedestal. You see screenshots, you see cars, you see luxury, you see lavish lifestyle, and then your brain goes, oh, if I just hit $1 million, then I'll be set. But here's the real math. $1 million over 10 years, that's $100,000 a year. You subtract taxes, expenses, lifestyle, reinvestment, those unexpected things that pop up when life starts lifing. Look, you're not rich, you're surviving with pressure. $1 million isn't the finish line anymore, it's the starting gate. And it's only gonna take me about 5 minutes to break this down. So if you don't have 5 minutes to spare, then by all means, just click off this video and go watch some side hustle, passive income video or something like that, and keep on worshiping revenue instead of building true infrastructure that's gonna last. But everybody says think big, but it's deeper than that. It's not just about thinking differently, it's about embodying the version of you that already sees $1 million as small. Because your external income will never outpace your internal image. So you have to understand this. The be comes before the get. You have to become the person first in order to get those things that you actually do desire. So ask yourself, how would I move if $1 million wasn't impressive to me? How would I price? How would I sell? How would I show up online? And then do that in the now. Don't wait for it, because if you keep on waiting for it, then it'll never happen. And that's why most people can't ever get ahead. That's why most people can't get any traction, because they think that they'll be able to get this large lump sum of money and then they'll have the opportunity to do all the things that they think they need to do in order to be successful. No, they have it totally backwards. You have to be that now. You have to act as if it is already done. You don't manifest millions, you normalize millions. You act like it's your new standard before it ever hits your bank account. And that's where most people struggle, is that they have goals, they have targets that they're shooting for instead of setting new standards for themselves. And here's the thing, we never rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our standards. So start setting new standards for yourself. And even if you just logically think about this, everything that you have accepted into your life right now is just a norm. Why is it that way? It's because you set a standard for yourself. Certain people, they will only drink a certain type of water. Like myself, I drink spring water. Well, why do I drink spring water instead of purified water? Well, because I set a standard for myself that I only drink spring water. Why do some people drive a type of car? Because they set a standard for themselves that that is going to be the type of car that they drive. Why do certain people have very healthy romantic relationships? Because they set a standard for themselves on what they will not accept. So people always are setting these standards for themselves to create these new norms in their lives, but never do it when it comes to their finances or their entrepreneurial and business endeavors. Set certain standards for yourself and move within those standards, because you will never, ever rise to the level of your goals, but you will always fall to the level of your standards. And when you operate like it's inevitable, then your actions start compounding and your business catches up with your identity. And here's where most people stay stuck. They think that making like $1 million will take 10 years, so they move like they have 10 years to figure it out. But when you stretch your timeline, you shrink your urgency, and urgency builds business, not delay. So here's the flip. What if you gave yourself 12 months? What if you sold one product 1,000 times or one product 10,000 times? What if you stopped pivoting and doubled down? When you collapse the timeline, you collapse the resistance. So $1 million in 10 years, like most people think, because they think that it's going to take forever, it feels safe. But $1 million in 12 months, it turns you into a CEO, because you got to be moving and shaking and maneuvering out here. You got to make something happen, and you got to make something happen now. And now, NOW stands for no opportunities wasted. And that's why most people stay poor, and poor, POOR, stands for passing over opportunities repeatedly. So most people are passing over opportunities repeatedly because they're not taking action now, because they think that they have so much time. And I choose to believe in a higher power. I believe in God. I believe in the Elohim. And I think that it's disrespectful to God to have the audacity and the gall to think that you have so much time when you've been blessed with the time that you have right now. You and I, we ain't got tomorrow. Tomorrow doesn't exist, my friend. The only thing that we have is right now, today, the present. And tomorrow is just some fantasy world where goals and dreams and aspirations go to die. How many things have you not gotten accomplished because you said, I'm gonna do it tomorrow. Then tomorrow turns into next week, and next week turns into next month, and next month turns into next year. And then all of a sudden, it's the end of the year and you're getting New Year's resolutions together again because you're gonna have such a great year because this past year didn't happen. Well, the past year's success didn't happen because you keep on putting stuff off for tomorrow. You're staying poor because you're passing over opportunities repeatedly, because you're not taking action now. No opportunities wasted. And when I say things like this, people, they'll say, well, isn't patience a virtue? Don't you have to be patient? And yes, I'm all for being patient. I actually have patience tattooed right here under this TMC flag. Patience. But in business and with your finances in your online business, you have to be patient in the macro, but you have to be super impatient in the micro. So on a day-to-day basis, you got to be thinking like, I don't have any time, because you literally don't. Like, the only thing that you have is right now. But in the big scheme of things, if you can zoom out, that's when the patience comes in. But a lot of people are so patient that they're just waiting, right? Patience is not just waiting and not doing anything. Patience is putting in the work each and every single day on a consistent basis and knowing that over the long haul, it's all going to work out. But most patient people, just to be honest with you, they ain't doing shit. They're just waiting and they're procrastinating, or this is the one that I love, they're learning, but really all that learning is just procrastination in disguise, because you ain't learning shit if you ain't doing nothing with the information that you have. Learning is not power. You know how they say knowledge is power? That's cap. That's a lie. Knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. So if you're doing all this learning and you ain't doing nothing with what it is that you're learning, then you're just a big, stupid, smart dummy. And you know a bunch of stuff that might sound a little interesting if you were having a conversation with a stranger or something like that, but you ain't doing nothing with what you know. So in actuality, you don't know anything, because you don't know if the stuff that you think you know even works, because you ain't worked it. And typically people that move like this, they may not realize it, but they have a scarcity mindset, and you can't scale from scarcity. And there's so many people out there that are treating money like it's oxygen, and they're in a room that they only have like 5 minutes left of air, and they're just trying to hoard all the oxygen, like just every single little breath, or they're gonna die. And this might even be you. You grip it, you chase it, you hoard it, and then wonder why it never multiplies. But don't treat money as if it's oxygen in that little tight room where you only have a limited supply. Treat it like the oxygen that it truly is, because money, it's abundance. Like, there's an oversupply of money out here, just like there's an oversupply of oxygen. So just think about how you breathe. You don't take in a breath and then hoard it and try to keep all the breath. You let it go and you put it back into the atmosphere. You put it back into the universe. You don't think that you're gonna run out of air, so stop thinking that you're gonna run out of money. You don't think that the air's just gonna run out and there's not gonna be enough for everybody to go around, so stop thinking that about money. Money is abundant. And if the state of our economy hasn't shown you anything, especially when a lot of weird things were happening back in 2020 and 2021, they can literally just print money out of thin air. They can print that stuff whenever they want to. Like, it's abundance. There's no shortage of it. But you gotta break the scarcity habit. You can't have this scarcity like, oh, it's mine. There's not enough to go around. And in any relationship, when you treat something like that, when you, I just gotta keep it and I gotta grab it close and I gotta keep it tight. Most people that have that mentality with anything, the relationships are never good. I have a great relationship with both of my parents. I talk to my mama and my daddy every single day. But I do know some kids that I grew up with, their parents had this stronghold on them and they didn't want to let them go. And then guess what? When they got of age to where they could leave the house, relationships separated. They don't have good relationships with their parents as adults. Why? Because their parents just held on too tight. They couldn't never let them go. They couldn't never let them experience life any. They couldn't never trust that their teachings would empower them to make the proper decisions out there in the world when they were a little younger. Well, that relationship isn't good now that they're adults. Same thing in romantic relationships. Do you know anybody that has a very controlling partner? Do they have a healthy relationship? Do you think that long term that relationship is gonna grow? No. Why? Because they have a scarcity mindset. They're just yeah, you're mine, and nobody else can. The world can't have you. You're mine. That's how people are thinking and treating money. When money ain't that big of a deal, it comes and it goes, it flows. And money is abundant. It's not just a feeling, it's not just a vibe, it's a system. And system, SYSTEM, stands for saving yourself time, energy, and money. And you can create your own system to where it's the system works for you instead of you working for it, and you can get your time back and make more while working less. Having a system is creating a product that you actually believe in and having this system run for you nonstop and selling while you're asleep. It's solving one painful problem with bold clarity. But scarcity is random. That's why there's so many online entrepreneurs out here. It's like, what are you doing? They're just always doing something new or something trendy or whatever the new hot thing is. And they're posting content that really just looks exhausting because their content isn't even targeted, but they're just doing stuff just because they think that they have to get views for views' sake when views don't pay you, but solving problems will pay you. And it's just super, super, super random. And scarcity is random, but abundance is repeatable. A system is repeatable. You don't need to attract more money. You need to build a machine that prints it. You don't need to hope that people buy. You need to believe in your offer so deep that selling feels like serving. And you know another trap that keeps $1 million looking big? Chasing passion over precision. Everybody wants to do what they love, but here's the secret. In order to do what you love, you're gonna have to do some things that you hate. And that shift right there, that's wealth energy. And you know the biggest thing that most people hate is being bored, especially in today's society when everybody's dopamine receptors are fried because they're frying their brains on social media all freaking day. People cannot do the boring, mundane tasks in order to actually monetize their passion because there's gonna be a lot of boring stuff that comes along with it. Because building one offer and then selling it 100 times and then selling it 1,000 times and then selling it thousands of times and then teaching other people to sell it 100 times and then 1,000 times, that sounds boring to people. It's not sexy. Repetition is boring, but it's how you buy your time back. That's how you actually get freedom. Somebody has a passion that they want to monetize, but they say that they're an introvert and they hate talking on camera. Well, sounds like that you're gonna have to get over some of that stuff that you hate to get your message about that thing that you're passionate about out to the people, because now people buy stuff from people that they know, like, and trust through their micro niche personal brand. You gotta do some stuff that you hate. And then those same people, they'll tell me, well, what? I can't do something faceless. Why can't I do something faceless? Because I heard this person talking about how I can do this faceless on YouTube. Yeah, you heard somebody with a face telling you to do it without a face, because they know that the only reason why you would listen to them is because you would trust the face. That's why they don't do it from their faceless channels. You see, there's certain things that you really can't avoid, but a lot of people are avoiding all the stuff that will change their financial futures because they're only focused on what it is that they love. They're only focused on their passion. But in any relationship, whether it be in business, finances, personal friendships, romantically, family relationships, you're always going to have to do some things that you don't like so much in order to keep that love there. But for some reason, all of a sudden, when it comes to entrepreneurship, building your businesses online and whatnot, people tend to forget that aspect. So yes, follow your passion. I used to be one of those online entrepreneurs that used to say a bunch of dumb shit like, don't follow your passion. We can get to the passion later. We got to get this money first. And guess what? I ended up building a business for myself that I absolutely hated. And I felt trapped and boxed in, and it freaking sucked. And some of that footage still exists of me on the internet saying that stupid crap, and I don't delete it because I want people to maybe discover it and see the evolution and how I've changed, because the whole reason why I got started in this was for freedom. so I could do what I want to do, when I want to do it, how I want to do it on my own time. I feel that God gave me the ability to create whatever life I want for myself. So why am I creating a life for myself that's a living hell when I have all the power here? I'm the architect. I'm designing my own life here. So yes, figure out a way to monetize something that you're passionate about. I'm telling you, I'm doing it right now, and it's a great life that I'm living. I literally wake up every single day excited about what I have to do each day. But each day, there's gonna be some things that I kind of hate doing. But I have to do those things in order to monetize my passion. I'm not just so stuck on, this is what I'm passionate about. Oh, this stuff feels good. I gotta do some of that stuff that feels bad. And actually, most of that stuff that feels bad is actually turning me into a better entrepreneur because I'm training my brain to enjoy to do the hard and the difficult things. Because how your brain is wired, and most people don't know this, your brain basically works on a series of ones and zeros, right? So a 1 registers as something that feels good, and a 0 registers as something that feels bad or is uncomfortable. And all that your brain wants to do is just hit all these ones, every single thing that feels good. Because your brain, it can't experience the world. Everything that it's experiencing is through you. And as weird as this may sound, your brain is basically just like a stupid AI. So when you sit here and you say that you want to learn how to copyright the right better sales letters, and you say that you want to read this book, but you keep on putting off reading this book, why do you keep putting that off? Because it keeps registering as a 0. It's painful to the brain. But what feels good? To sit here and watch YouTube videos on how to copyright instead of reading that book on how to copyright. And most of the time on those YouTube videos, are you really learning anything? Because are you applying any of the stuff, or does it make you feel good through the entertaining aspect of the content that you feel good? And then you watch one video, then another video, then another video, then another video, and then you trick yourself. You basically lie to yourself and say, oh, I had a productive day today because I learned so much, when in actuality, all that you did was watch 20 videos on something instead of writing 20 pieces of copy on something from what you learned. And you'll sit there and you'll know that YouTube is the best source of traffic to build your online business because it builds your income, impact, and influence while paying you. And you know that it's the best source to build your micro niche personal brand, so you can attach your digital product of you coming up with a solution to somebody else's problem to your personal brand, and you'll know that you need to make some content. But you may not feel comfortable making content, or you just might not feel like making no content. Registers as a 0. But what registers as a 1? You watching other people's content. So instead of becoming the producer that you know you need to become a successful entrepreneur online, you just go back to everything that feels good, and you just go and consume everybody else's stuff. When most people that are successful, they produce more than they consume. But since it doesn't feel good to you, it registers as a 0, and then the brain says, oh no, let's just go watch a whole bunch of videos, and yeah, let's give ourselves a little pat on the back because we learned so much, and now let's sit on the couch and let's eat movie theater popcorn from Trader Joe's with some of that cold, sweet, sour nectar of the Trader Joe's lemonade, and sit back and watch our show because it feels good and we can reward ourselves because we learned so much today. But I'm telling you, those things that register as a 0, those things that you keep on putting off, if you just start to do them, everything that you want is sitting on the other side of all that stuff that you continue to put off. If you just start doing that and start doing the boring stuff over and over and over again, and start learning to enjoy some of that repetition and the monotony of repetition, I'm telling you, it'll change everything for you. And you get to find that precision through the repetition to where you can actually start to monetize your passion. Now let's talk game. You don't get to millions of dollars online with content and vibes. You get there with a strategy that scales. So what does that look like? A lead magnet that actually solves something. A funnel that nurtures trust, not just sales. A system that closes sales without you even being there. And weekly content that hits pain, proof, and pitch. Most people are trying to grow, but their businesses aren't built to scale. They have absolutely no infrastructure, no systems, no nothing. So yeah, $1 million look big because they're trying to carry everything with their bare hands. But if you want it to feel small, build a system that carries it for you. And a big part of building a system that can carry the brunt of the work for you is getting in the right room with people that have built these systems for themselves. You got to get in rooms that stretch you because nothing expands the money mindset faster than proximity. If you hang around people that think 5K a month is the dream, then you'll build a business that stops at 60K a year. But if you get around people that say $1 million is the warm-up lap, then your standards shift without permission. Stretch your environment before you stretch your income. Look, who you tune into, you turn into, and what entertains you trains you. And if you're trapped by your circle, then you're not in a circle, you're actually in a cage. So ask yourself, who are you learning from? Who's holding you accountable? Are you building in isolation or in a room that expects growth like all them that you see on the screen right now? So if you're ready to make more working less online from stuff that you already know, go ahead and click the link down in the description and join this credited at the top community. For weekly coaching from myself, all my exclusive trainings, plus a private community and entrepreneurs, all designed to grow your business online. It's only a few bucks a day to join right now, literally less than a cup of coffee per day. So click the link down in the description and tap in, and I'll see you on our coaching call this Wednesday. I'm telling you, $1 million, yeah, it looks big when you've never seen it before, but it gets real small when it's normal in your circle. So if you're still chasing your first $1 million, that's cool, but just know that $1 million, it's not the goal, it's not the end destination, it's not the finish line, it's the starting point. And the moment you start seeing it that way, you'll stop building from pressure and start building with power. So go ahead and click the link down in the description if you want to tap into the community, and I'll see you on our coaching call this Wednesday. And go ahead and check out this video right here about how you can build $1 million personal brand. I'm telling you, it feels pretty cool to get paid just to be yourself. It's credited at the top.